Hey, Flippy2, it's Symbolic. How are you? Listen, thanks for asking for my thoughts on this video called ChosonNinja's Philosophy, Anger. I thought I'd make a video response to you on it because I find anger a very interesting topic. He draws a distinction between selfish anger and righteous anger, and I agree with him on that. I think there is quite a difference. Righteous anger, I think, is where we are responding to injustice. Usually on behalf of others, but it can also be on behalf of ourselves. Selfish anger, I think, is the type of anger when I think it really arises from desire. There's something we want, we're frustrated in obtaining that, and then we experience some sort of anger. I think that the root of anger is fear. Fear is the root of anger. And you'll notice if people express their anger, generally it's in order to inspire fear in others, and so to basically make others feel the same fear that we feel. So I think the trick to, not that it's a trick, it's an art. It's an art requiring long practice, I think. The art to coping with anger and transcending anger is to become fearless. Now, usually when we think of fearless, we think of being brave or courageous, but I don't mean bravery. Transcending anger, transcending fear, requires, I think, a lot of philosophical virtue. I know that's a general phrase. I mean, part of it is, well, I could go on, but I'll use up the whole video. I might return to that, but in any event, we need to transcend fear. So now, what I object to in his video is that, and again, he does this like everybody does, he just makes these statements without statistics, without any studies. He just makes the statement that basically what he's saying is that theists are more able to handle anger, they don't respond with anger, and that people who don't believe in God or don't believe in spiritual things, so, atheists, I suppose you could say, that we're liable to be more angry. He even goes so far as to say that we would take this out on our wife and children. So it's an extremely biased, judgmental thing to say, and he doesn't back it up with any evidence, and I believe because it can't be backed up. Anger is, human. All humans experience anger. They all experience fear, and how we cope with fear depends on what we're taught by our families, by our cultural values, by whatever patience we cultivate, and virtues like patience and understanding and forgiveness and love. These are not unique to particular religions. I mean, these exist in secular philosophies, and they've existed for thousands of years. So religion is not the sole source of these type of things. I know from personal experience, I come from an atheist family, and actually they're very friendly, warm people, and they're not these more liable to anger than other people. So he really has nothing to back that up. It's just a belief of his, a bias, really, a religious bias. There are statistics out there. I don't know if they've ever done studies like this. I don't know the statistics, so I won't. For me to start quoting statistics secondhand is not going to make any sense. He also. Also, if you have a belief in a God, he hasn't mentioned that you can be angry at God, or if you have a belief in karma or the rules of the universe, you could also be angry at those. So belief is not does not preclude anger. If you don't believe in karma and you don't believe in a God, and you are just taking the universe as it comes, trying to understand it, but taking it as it comes, in a way, is there less likelihood for anger? Maybe, I don't know. There's no one to be really angry at. You can be frustrated by the world, but what you do is you have to cultivate an understanding that it may be a tragic world. The balances of justice may never come back up. It could just be an unjust world, or you may just be unlucky. All the people who died at Pompeii when the volcano went off. That's a tragedy. Now I don't know if there was a greater purpose for that or a greater plan for that. Maybe so. I don't know. But as a tragedy, you simply come to grips with it as a tragedy. You don't get angry at the volcano or angry at nature or angry at the world or the laws of physics or geology because a volcano went off and killed a lot of people. It's just an unfortunate tragedy, and you'd have to cultivate an understanding of tragedy, and I'd say a tolerance for it, but more of an understanding for it too. It makes life very poignant. If there were no tragedy in life, imagine if there were no death in life and no tragedy in life, how much meaning would be lost from our life. I mean, a lot of meaning comes out of our mortality. But now I'm wandering far afield. So, yes, anger. I do think the root is fear. Now, he mentioned there are different kinds of anger, and I do think, and I reached this conclusion years ago one night. I don't remember how I got to the conclusion, but I do think that the opposite of some kinds of fear, or at least one kind of fear, is not bravery. I think part of that is love. Love can be the opposite of fear. And fear is the root of anger. But it's not the comprehensive solution. There are different kinds of anger. I mean, in the face of injustice, people can pray. That's fine, no problem with that. But also, we need to set to work to change things. And really set to change the world and to alter things so that it is a more just world. And that the injustices, we can't just back off and let injustices occur. Now I don't say that because I'm an atheist, of course. That many people believe that. Depending on their belief or non-belief in religiously or spiritually. So we do have to change things like that. But I agree with the guy totally about anger ruining health and anger leading to horrible consequences, and I completely agree with him that we should not provoke anger. Provoking anger, I don't know why we would want to do that. I mean, to cause fear in another human being, why would we do that unless we're afraid ourselves? So, one thing I've always found, if I'm trying to analyze, if I start to feel angry at something, the most useful question I've come up with is I ask myself, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? And start to analyze, where's this anger coming from? Where is the root of fear coming from? And do analysis that way, and it's very, very helpful. There are not a lot of practical techniques really for dealing with anger, but for me that's really one of the best techniques, is to analyze it in terms of fear, and then you can deconstruct the fear and basically say, okay, well, should I be afraid of this? Is this realistic to be afraid of this? Or is it ridiculous to be afraid of this? Or is it just futile to be afraid of this? I think that's really for me one of the best technique. Assuming I'm correct about it being rooted in fear, but I really think I am. So I think to some degree wisdom, whatever wisdom is, I mean, that could take a whole video tape too. Wisdom is an antidote to anger because it's an antidote to fear, and many people gain wisdom along a spiritual path, but it's not the sole path. Spiritual paths are not the sole path to virtue. Philosophy is a particularly well-trodden path, and it's very good. So that's basically what I think. I'll attach this to ChosonNinja's video, so he's aware that I made it. There's some good things in it. I agree with him wholeheartedly about one solution to selfishness is to be generous. If you are feeling that you're being selfish, to give it has a remarkable ability to just vaporize selfishness. That's a very good thing. That's pretty much what I got to say, man. Thanks for asking for my thoughts. I appreciate it very much. Take care, Philippi, too.